Hello there everybody, this is Graham, also known as the Collector75. Welcome to another Transformers Beast Wars review. I'm really rocking through these Beast Wars videos at the moment, so I'm going to have to go to my parents' house in my loft and get some more stuff out pretty damn quick. I didn't realise I was going to get through them as quick as I have done, really. But hey ho, I'm going to try and go there this Sunday because it's Mother's Day, so I'm going to pop round there then. If I don't get a chance then within the next week. Anyway, right, before I get on to the actual review, I did get this the other day. I did get my, what is it, the, I can't even say their name, bloody Hatchet Partworks, whatever it is, the definitive G1 collection, and I got Escalation. They only sent me one issue, I'm not quite sure why that was. Maybe someone else out there, did they only get one issue? Anyway, but that's quite good. What I'm going to try and do now is probably sell my actual G1, well, these the comics of these issues that I've got, mainly for space reasons, because these books are they do take up a lot of space. I did get the free gift, the subscription exclusive, and that is the metal sort of like tin thing of issue number 50 of the American comic. I do agree with Soundwave SG1, why they gave us this one though. I mean, there are better covers out there they could have used, which is strange. I mean, it's one of the better American covers, but there's still better ones. So it's a bit strange. You know, that's alright. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with it. Eventually I'll probably stick it somewhere. Right, anyway. That's those books. Right, so let's get on to this review. So obviously, here we are with Beast Wars Transmetal Megatron. And now, I'm going to raise my camera up just ever so slightly. Sorry about those guys. Yeah. Much like my Optimus Primal review, I remember getting this guy at the same time. I cannot remember whether I got the American version first or I got the weird European version, but I don't seem to have them hanging around, so maybe I only did get them. But I'm sure I remember getting them at Toys R Us at my local one in Hayes, but I could be wrong. Because if you look, it does have an English address, so, you know, and it's the American one. Let me show the bio there, so you can pause out and read that at your leisure. There you go. So yeah, but I was super hyped to get this figure, because the Ultra version, the one that came before this of just his normal T-Rex, was a pretty good figure, but I found it was just a bit too large to scale with some of the other figures. But obviously this one being like it's called a Mega at the time, but probably much like a Voyager at this time. It's 2017 now. So it scaled a lot better with like some of the deluxes and everything like that. Yeah, so it's pretty good, and he looked fantastic on the cartoon. He has one little gripe that I don't like about the figure, but I'll get onto that when I actually get into the actual toy review itself. In case I forget though, because I'm prone to doing that. It is something to do with these VTOL thrusters. I just wish, because in the cartoon they could angle around and everything like that. Unfortunately, they can't do that on the toy, which if they'd have included that, that would have been pretty damn good. Now then, I did get this one. Remember on my 500th video, I was saying that I was going to get David Kay to sign something. I actually realised I did get him to sign this one. I can't remember when that was. That was quite a while now. That was probably like 2009, 2008, something like that. It was a while ago. I do remember being in the queue with a friend of mine, actually, who I knew, who was there, and we were discussing whatever we got someone we were going to stick on eBay, and David Kay didn't look too chuffed about it. I mean, I was only joking because well, at the time I wasn't really selling anything, but I think my mate was. But there we go. So anyway, this is the bottom of the box. There's all the features that comes with this figure. Now, a lot of people have told me that this guy is all gold plastic. Now, to me, he doesn't look gold plastic. I'm not denying that they're wrong. It is kind of like a bronzy coloured, but it probably shares some of the same features as gold plastic. I'm going to be ever so careful as I review this guy, because I don't want to break it, but at the same time, what's the point of having a figure if, you know, just stuck in a box? If you're not prepared, you know, because it is open. I've had him out before and I've played around with him and everything. So what's the point? I mean, if I was going to keep it, you know, proper sealed box, fair enough, but I want to get him out. So what's the point? Right, okay, I'm going to be back with this this guy out of his box, and it'll probably be in 1,000 bits probably by the time I finish the review, so it's always worth sticking around for that. Right, okay, back in a tick. Right, so here we have him out of the box, and he survived getting out of the box so far, and I've just moved a couple of bits just to see just how brittle that plastic is. So far, fingers crossed, nothing broke or seemed like it wanted to break. But I love it. You can tell it is probably along the same lines as that gold plastic, because if you notice in the plastic you can see, I don't know whether it's going to come out too well on this camera, but you can see all the swirls in the plastic right round here. I don't know if you're going to pick that out there. It looks kind of like a crack, but it's like a swirl in the plastic, and that it could be where it gets its brittleness from. It's, I don't know if it's going to pick out like a swirl just around here. It could mean just where the plastic has formed, maybe like in the molds. It's like whatever they blend it together to give its colour, whatever, doesn't quite gel together properly, and so you end up kind of like it's kind of like, you know, like in cooking, I think it's when certain oils and stuff, like if you was trying to make eggs Benedict, and the sauce that you put on the top, if it separates, if you know what I mean, and then you try and get it back together, it's a bugger. It's kind of like maybe that's why it gives it all this brittleness. I don't know, it's a hard one. Another thing I used to do is actually try and keep this as warm as possible, because obviously, say if you used to keep the plastic quite warm, it'd be less brittle. Well, maybe, I don't know, I could be completely bloody wrong here, but it could be less brittle than if it was freezing cold, for example. That could be a thing, I don't know. Anyway, right, let's stop going on about the merits of gold plastic syndrome. In the box you do get his instruction booklet. There we go. And we do get this amazingly looking, gorgeous Transmetal Megatron, and obviously the thing about these were the fact that the beast mode was all mechanized and looking like a robot, and the robot mode was supposed to have the organic part, so it's a bit like as a reversal from what it was. My only gripe with this is the fact that you can see his robot arms underneath there. It's that was always a bit of a shame. But other than that, he's got some fantastic chrome on him. It actually looks blue on my camera. I don't know if it's going to come out like that actually when you see it, but it is actually purple. It's actually quite a deep purple, so I'm surprised it's coming out so blue. But there we go. Maybe it's the lighting. No, it still looks blue, but it's definitely purple. It's good. I love his tail. He's got a very articulated tail. I'm trying not to move joints on this too much. You can open out those for a little pincer on the back there. That is a cool feature. I like that. You don't get a lot of leg movement in this mode, mainly due to just how his legs sit, but you can prop him up and down, whatever you want to do. These little arms will move. I'm not going to try and move them too much, but there we go. You can open and close his mouth like so, and that's pretty cool. Now, obviously, being a Transmetal, he does come with a third mode. Right, let's try doing this. I've done this just now and with no massive problems, so I'm going to be careful. These are his roller skates, and then he does have these VTOL engines. Now, I'm going to be super careful how I do this. I'm going to put as much. I don't think that was a crack. That was just me pushing on something else. I'm going to put as much pressure on every part of it to get it moving, rather than putting all the stress on the actual joint itself, because I don't really want it snapping off, to be honest. I just got to be very, very careful how I'm doing this. There we go. So this is his third alternate vehicle mode. Make of it what you will. It looks pretty cool. I mean, it looks really good like it did in the cartoon. Like, this is how he'd fly with these giant turbine jet engines under him, and he'd fly around like that. Seems silly, but in the cartoon, it just worked, and I mean, it worked really well. Especially because, like I said earlier, if they'd have added the feature where you could tilt them like that, like he does, because when these are in robot mode, these end up a funny angle on his back. But in the cartoon, they were like that on his back, and that allowed him to fly in robot mode as well. But there's no way you can do that on a toy, which is just it's the only one, apart from his hands there, it's the only nitpick. that when you do that, it does reveal his little. I'm sure they were called energon chips, but it's like the old rub symbols. You know, there we are. So that's some of there. Right, we are going to transform this guy now into his robot mode. I'm going to put away his roller skates. You can have his roller skates out in robot mode if you wanted. He does do that in one episode of the cartoon, which is quite funny because it's quite a serious moment and he just starts roller skating around the table. And I always found that humorous because it did add or inject that's what I liked about Beast Wars. It always reminds me of Judge Dredd, especially the old comics that you get from 2000 AD, is that it adds a little bit of humour. It can be serious one moment, humorous the next, and it just pulls it off. Right, okay, so we're going to transform this guy right now. Right, so the first thing you're going to do is disconnect his tail, and it is just literally just tabbed onto this little brown piece just in between his legs, and that is just going to disconnect if I can do it without destroying my figure completely. I don't know why it doesn't want to come out. Come out, you bugger. What's up with it? It's supposed to come out. There we go. Put that to one side and we'll come back to that bit in a minute. Now, as you can see, I've sort of like made him do the splits there. That allows me to do the next part of his transformation. Is you're just going to lift these thrusters up and out the way like that, while being as careful as you can. Alright, that just sort of flops around. Then we can move his legs down and then on nice little ratchet joints. Then what we're going to do, we are going to, I think we've got to disconnect the head. I think it comes out of here. I can't remember now. I'm trying to be as delicate as I can. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it just sort of tabs in, and so we bring this head around, and then that should allow us. There we go. Just to. Oh yeah, I need to manoeuvre these little T-Rex arms around and out of the way. We are now going to bring these up. Please do not snap. Oh, that didn't sound very healthy. Doesn't sound healthy, does it? Come here, bugger, get up there. My God, wow, look at that. Yeah, I can see the plastic stretching as it goes over these joints. I'm going to try and be as daring as I can. That one, oh, I don't like that at all. Anyway, right, so that one went all right. This one is going to be a little bit more heartbreaking if it breaks. Fucking hell, that didn't sound good. Right, well, as you can see, right now he's in robot mode. There is a reason. Yes, maybe I should have took people's advice and not transformed this, but I really did not see the point in having a toy that I couldn't transform and just leave in the box, as much as I can understand why. Yeah, just before, obviously, the video ended just now, I actually did snap this shoulder piece off. I don't know if it's going to show it, the crack, just if I use my little screwdriver where I've been trying to undo some joints, just along there, just decided to split straight off as soon as I moved this panel. Now I think I know what it is. I think it is it's a combination of some really thin plastic joints, which are taking a hell of a lot of stress, and the fact that it's obviously a plastic is very, very shiny. It is like the gold plastic syndrome, and so coupled with that, they are so brittle, and some of these joints are super tight, and it's forcing bits of plastic, like when as you bend it round, it is really forcing the plastic out of shape, so it only takes a slight bit, and that being brittle, there's no give in it whatsoever, so it just snaps. And that isn't the only bit. A bit later on I thought, well, it's only that bit, I can probably transform the rest, so I was extra careful, and then I snapped a small bit off this. I don't know if you can see it, there's a pin just here. This is the arm joint. As you pull the arms out, the inner bit halfway up has now snapped off. I've got it here somewhere. I've got this little bit. Don't know if you're going to see it too well. Here it is. Get him out of shot, it might focus. I don't know whether it will or not. Anyway, so that bit is, but it's still on at the moment. So what I'm going to do when I transform this back into robot mode, beast mode, it probably won't transform again, unfortunately, because it's just not worth it. But I wanted to do this review because I love this figure. I've had this out quite a few times over the years. I mean, I haven't had it out for the last 10 years, unfortunately. But, you know, I really liked it and I wanted to get this out. So anyway, so now here he is in robot mode, and it's a great robot mode. I mean, I love it. I love the turbines on his back. It is a shame that they don't angle upwards to give him that flight mode. It is a great organic looking head, and I love the chest. The chest is probably the best sculpting of any Megatron out of Beast Wars. I just love it. I love the fact that he still uses the T-Rex feet. It's just really good. This little holster, you can put this tail on there if you really wanted to. I think there is an episode where he uses that. Or you can flip out the little, if I can get it out without it smashing up, you can get a little handle and you can hold it now like that. And that don't look very good to me. There is a way you can do it. I'm going to try and do it. What I used to do is you just move these back slightly and then you tuck his arm in. I dare not risk moving it, I'm afraid. But you can put it at an angle, so then you can give him his, pretty much how he looked in the cartoon. You can angle this inside there like that, so then he has that, which is a much better look, and it's how I used to display it when I used to have this guy out on my shelf at home during the very late 90s. It just looks fantastic. I love him, and I know someone said get the Armada one. I've got that one somewhere. But I just do not like those colours. I was thinking just now, actually, if it was the same sort of in a plastic, I could have swapped the bits over, but I don't think it is, which is a shame. It is a good robot, though. It is a good toy. Maybe just stay away from this version. It's a shame, though, because this is, if you want my opinion, the best looking one out of the two that you're going to get. You can put him next to Optimus Primal. Glad he doesn't suffer the same thing, because when I transformed him I wasn't careful at all. But there he is. Transmetal Megatron. It's a good figure, just shame that it's so prone to breaking. What a shame. You can tilt the head left and right, and these arms up here can become little guns. He did use them once or twice. It's a shame they didn't add that feature into the toy, but that would have been pretty cool. Right, okay, this has been Graham, the Collector 75. I'm going to try taking a picture of his arm with that in position, see if I can do it without it snapping off. But forgive me if it doesn't turn up. It means it either has snapped off or I really didn't fancy it. Anyway, right, this has been Graham, the Collector 75. I'll see you all better next time. Bye for now. Oh yes, he can use his little roller skates in this mode, like he did in that episode. I think it was Tangled Web, I think. Right, okay, this has been Graham, the Collector 75. I'll see you next time. Bye for now. Alright, here we go. Yes, I just managed to get it into that little pose. It's probably not as perfect as I used to be able to get it, but I really did not fancy bending him in too much at the shoulder there. But it does look better. It looks like he used to look on the cartoon a bit better there. Again, I'd probably have angled it down slightly more. But it still looks pretty damn good. Still one of my favourite Megatrons out of Beast Wars and Beast Machines. There we go. Right, okay, this has been Graham, the Collector 75. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.